Hello, friends, and welcome to Coach Cut's Corner. Streaming bright from Michigan's capital city, this podcast is dedicated to helping you better understand the who, the what, and the why of mental performance, personal growth, and Lansing Stars baseball. Coach Cut's Corner, brought to you by Eyewash.
In collaboration with Lansing Community College.
And now here's your host, Stephen Cutter.
Welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing. Each week I provide insights into our program and hope to inspire you to challenge yourself to become a better you, ultimately helping you enhance your life just as I've transformed mine. As a college coach, my days are bustling with meaningful moments shared with unique individuals. Additionally, I offer mental skills coaching to athletes across all levels from youth to the professional level. Today we have Coach Mo and Ryan Delora in the WLNZ studios. Ryan is a former North Muskegon Norseman, and Coach Mo and I coached Ryan for one special season in 2021. Ryan is in his first year in the capital city, and I just had to get him on the show. Sure great to have both of you here today. How's everything going?
It's going good.
Yeah, welcome to the show. What do you think of the studios?
It's nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, wasn't expecting it.
Okay. You're a listener of the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay. So a little backstory. Prior to me coming to LCC, I was a high school baseball coach at North Muskegon. It was a kind of a special story how we ended up there. And our last year there, Coach Mo and I had the privilege of coaching Ryan. Mm-hmm. You were a young, smaller version of yourself, yep. Freshman. Yep. And you got pulled up to the varsity and you pitched. Yep. What do you remember about that season, especially early on?
Yeah, early on, I didn't think I was going to be on varsity right away. Okay. I thought I could help the team, but at that time, I didn't know myself as a pitcher at all, really.
So had you pitched when you were younger?
Yeah, but I was never one of our top guys.
Why?
I'm not really sure. I hit bombs in Little League, so I was more of a hitter, honestly. So that's what I was known for, was showing up to Little League games and hitting bombs. So I mean,
love that.
Straight up.
Love that.
So when I got onto JV and worked with Coach Mueller, he really,
Coach Mueller.
Yeah, he really taught me some pitching skills, taught me how to throw a good curveball, and just taught me how to be a pitcher on the mound rather than just going up there and throwing. And I think that really helped me.
In your freshman year, that's pretty much all you did for us, right? Was pitch?
Yep. I got one round of bunting, and I missed two, and you yelled at me to get out of there. So, yeah.
I love that. And you're trying to, we fast forward a little bit, but we're going to come right back. You know, you're trying to be a two-way here, which is extremely challenging at the collegiate level. And it doesn't matter what level of college it is. It's just really challenging because you're trying to give 100% for pitching, and then you're trying to give 100% for the offensive side of it. And it's pretty hard to do because a lot of times for us it's easier in the fall because we have our pitching and our offense split, so they're going at different times for the most part. There's some overlap there, but they're going at different times. But in a lot of programs it's at the same time, so you're usually missing quite a bit of one or the other. So that's why we say it's usually pretty challenging. So backtracking a little bit, freshman year you get pulled up to varsity. One of the big things that I remember was the big GMAA city tournament, and I don't really remember. I think we made it a ways in that. Might have got to the finals. I don't really remember, but I remember playing in a quote unquote big game, and I chose to pitch you as a starter in that game versus our number one. And I remember hearing a lot of flack about that. And do you remember that game at all?
Yes.
And we lost, too.
Yeah, we lost bad. And I don't necessarily remember the game or pitching. I just remember my teammates picking me up. I remember walking back into the dugout, sat down. You came over to talk to me. You were kind of like telling me something, and I was looking down, and I vividly remember to this day you yelling at me to make eye contact with you till you talk. And I think from that day, my eye contact with anybody's been better. And that's what I took out of that game as kind of a life lesson. And I think it's actually really helped me. So.
I believe it was Reese Puffer at Mona Shores in the
Okay.
GMA. Yeah.
Nice. And I think they still got that going on, right?
Yeah, they did. We won it.
Yeah.
We won it 2 years ago, and then this year we were runners-up in it, lost to Reese Puffer in a 6-7 ball game, really good ball game.
And they're still playing like the finals at Marshfield and stuff.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I was doing a little research on that team and that 2021 team. And we had that was a team that won 30 games that year and really had made a special run. And then, there were some really solid teams that followed after that, too, which was incredible to see. And the program's in a really, it's in a strong spot minus, a certain thing. And I'm sure we'll talk about that on here, too. But looking back on it, we had 11 kids on that roster play college sports.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's good, especially for a small
Pretty
school.
wild, small school, and they say I think the national average is about just a little over 7% of kids will play a college sport, and it drops to about I think 2% for the Division I level, but little over 7% will play a college sport, and we have that roster was probably around 15 if I remember right, and we had 11 play a college sport.
Yeah,
so pretty wild. So we played at a pretty cool place right on the water in North Muskegon.
Yep.
And when I came into the program was a little bit down. It wasn't because of the people, and it certainly wasn't because of the athletes there. They've had strong, at least at that point, and they still do, strong basketball, strong football, things like that. And then you come to baseball.
Girls soccer too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you come to baseball season with the same athletes, and they just weren't, having a ton of success. And so we really worked hard on changing the environment of that program, trying to brand some stuff and try to bring some excitement to the program. And I remember putting an absolute ton of time in the field, the baseball field there, and did painting and repainted all the chain link because we didn't necessarily have the budget to put in new chain link fence, but we just painted it, and did a awful lot of things there. But then the branding piece came in where this place needs a name, and it was James B. Johnson Field, but I thought it needed something else. Beyond that, there was a lot of history with the Johnson family and baseball and North Muskegon and sports and administration and everything else, and came up with the Shipyard because it's right next to the water. And we kind of rolled with it, and it became a spot where we had music, and we had some things rolling there, and fence blew over at one point because we got so excited and got some tarps up on them and windscreen, and so a lot of history there. And then the next thing as we kind of move out of there and move to Lansing, the shipyard gets bulldozed, and you end up playing your senior year without a home field, which a lot of people will think that's just okay, well, you got to play all your games on the road, but it also meant practices, and I think you guys had to figure out a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah, we had to figure out a lot. So we started practicing at a field that was 15 minutes north of us, but prior to that, it was a middle school field, so we had to move the fences back. So we thankfully had some parents that moved the fences back.
Yeah, especially because you were playing, right?
Yeah, I hit bombs. So.
The bomb dropper.
Yeah. So, but they ran out of room, so it actually went downhill. And so it went downhill, and it just wasn't a great setup there. We didn't have a net to hit in either, so it was all on field BP. We made the best of it, but people had to take L screens every day in their trucks, take the bucket of balls every time.
Sure.
So it was a grind for sure, and I think it weighed on us as the season went along.
Yeah.
Doing that.
Pretty certain with it. The more you talk about something, the bigger it becomes anyway. And it certainly became really big. I saw T-shirts on social media that were made, and RIP Shipyard, and in memory and all of that. And there was a lot of passion and a lot of heart behind it, and a lot of understanding where the passion and the heart was from, because there's a lot of history there. And obviously, in a lot of ways, it's you can look past some stuff if you've got something that's being built or something that's coming, and maybe you got to make a few sacrifices for a certain period of time. But I think even at this point, there isn't any construction on a new baseball field, so there's going to probably be at least another team that goes through there that doesn't have a home field, and that certainly hurts programs, but it doesn't have to define them. You can be more. You're more than just the ball field that you play at. There's some really strong programs at all kinds of different levels of the college baseball world that don't have the best facilities and don't have the best resources, but they find ways.
Look at the field we inherited before Muni.
Yeah.
It was a lot, same of like what you mentioned, where there was a lot of like every day it just kind of wore on you, things you had to clean up, but LCC was still a program that was,
that
on
had
top at that point.
success. Yeah, that's a really solid example. What else do you remember from that freshman season? Because I'm sure it was kind of drinking from a fire hose a little bit. There was a lot going on, and you were looking at older players and a program that had high standards at that point, and we were really trying to change a lot of the thoughts and especially the environment there.
Yeah, that's when I first got introduced to our leadership that we do here at LCC. We did that before practice at North Muskegon.
Where were we doing that at? In the locker room?
Yeah,
With
in our
the
locker room
projector.
with the projector on that
I
little
forgot
screen.
about that.
Yeah.
And that actually carried over, so we started doing that after you guys left,
I love
and they
that.
still do that.
Nice.
Was the projector shooting onto the door, or was there a
We
screen?
had a little screen that
Okay.
pulled
Yeah,
down. I think
so-
football would watch film on it.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
So
okay.
that's what it was for. I remember pitching in a playoff game
Okay.
at home, which was incredible. And that's another great thing about that field, is it's right in the middle of our city.
Yeah.
And so we got more fans, it felt like, at every game than anywhere else we played. We used our press box. A lot of schools didn't have that.
Yes.
We had a great environment there that a lot of schools around us didn't get, and we were great. It was
I always thought it was cool that it was like there's a neighborhood right behind it, and you could watch, like, just from your vantage point, you could watch people like leave their home and walk up to the field.
yeah.
Always thought that was cool.
It was special, and as we started changing things around, I built bullpens and plyo walls and just a lot of different things there. And as you put a little bit in, you saw more and more people get behind it.
Yeah,
more and more people start showing up, and just like you said, pretty soon we went from just having parents there to having a lot of the community there, because there was a buzz about it, and the buzz is still there, and that's like the best thing, is that you just see that it's continuing to roll. You threw in a playoff game. Was that a district or a regional?
A district game.
So you never threw in the regional?
Nope. I warmed up for that regional.
Which one?
Against Buchanan.
Oh, so at Cornerstone.
Yeah.
So that was a regional final.
Yeah. So I warmed up that game, but then game was kind of already over at that point, so I wasn't in.
We went with Dupe
Yep.
to close it out.
Yeah, you rolled with Dupe and let Dupe throw. So
I believe he's an LCC student, so shout out Dupe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Loyal listener.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Mo, that you think about on that season?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the playoff run where it was. The one that the Montague one sticks out to win the district, right? I always screw up how that goes.
Do you remember the Montague, the district final? I think it was.
Boat raced them.
Yeah.
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 Do you remember the first play of the game?
Yeah, Ben slid into first.
Why did he slide in the
Because
first?
that day before you talked about if there's a wild throw and the first baseman looks like he's going to bail for the ball, you got to slide.
Actually did a drill on it.
Yeah, we did a drill, and I remember Ben sliding, getting up, flexing, and he never shows emotion. And that was just electric and just awesome.
Do you remember the dog pile at the end?
I did. I was
Yeah.
ready to run out that door right behind Coach Cut, and it was awesome.
That's awesome.
I remember when we played Montague earlier in that year too. I remember it got called because of time, because it was like
Yes.
12 at night
Yes.
at Marshfield.
Yes.
Oh, I
That was
forgot
a
about
super
that.
late 14
I
inning
forgot
game.
about
for the conference
Yeah.
championship.
I
And
pitched
we-
in that second game, and I wasn't even eligible to pitch. I threw. Coach Cut was
well,
like,
the first
get warm.
game. Remember how long the first
yeah,
game
the
went?
first game took forever.
Dewey's got a video from that. There was a play where we were in extras, and I believe we were the away team in
We
that.
were.
Okay.
So
We were.
they were hitting, and there's a play at the plate, and the guy running home gets called safe, so we lose.
Yes.
And then the home plate umpire goes out because something happened,
no.
like an interference or whatever.
No, that was it's on video. So they tried to steal home.
Yes.
And they stole home, and there was 2 strikes on the kid,
He swung.
and he swung while the kid was sliding in. So I went out and asked the home plate umpire if he saw him swing. He said no. Then I said, you got to check with the field because he swung that strike 3. We're out of the inning.
Yeah.
And so he walked out there. They talked for 5 seconds, and he overturned it, said strike 3. We're out of the inning. And It's
Yeah.
a pretty cool video. But yeah, I mean that game was big, and you know
Unreal.
we talked a lot that season, and we talked a lot when we were building that our first year too about like moments, and it became more than just like enjoy the moments, because you hear that all the time, but it became like recognize them when they're happening, because they're usually not always like dog piles, but those are small things, and if you enjoy those, you end up with just a much better feeling about what you're doing.
Yeah.
So this year, now you're a star,
Yep.
and we're 4 weeks into the season, and I know I've caught myself a few times looking, in the bullpen or on the field, and like, wow, he's grown up a little bit, still hits the ball a little bit, throws harder than what he did when I knew him as a freshman, and
He dropped a bomb at Muni.
Yep.
So.
Yep, which is hard to do. And so what's it been like in your first 4 weeks? What's kind of been some of the outliers for you?
I love, and what's different is how much baseball there is. I feel like my whole day is around baseball, which is awesome. That's why I came here. I love that we have stuff outside of practice, KCS Angels, leadership, study tables, workouts. We've got a lot here, which we're blessed to have. I think the energy that we have in games, mid-mish, we saw it yesterday even. We saw it like when I was on the mound. Struck a kid out, and all I could hear was the dugout yelling, and it's just awesome. And this is only the fall, and I can't wait till we get in those games in the spring when we're facing some competition that are rivalry games or big games, and I can't wait for those games. And I think this team, I think what separates good teams from great teams, in my opinion, and the teams I've been on, is how close are you, how much you care for the one next to you. I think that was true at North Muskegon. I think that year we made it to the regional finals with you guys, I think that team cared for each other. There was a lot of seniors, and even as a freshman, I remember Alec giving me rides a few times. There's just guys that were there to help you, and I think this team has it really well. We got some great leaders. Just got a text this morning that Remick's buying a tamp for the mound because we don't have one because it broke. And so we just got guys that care for the team, and I think they care for the team more than themselves. And so I think that's
Nice.
a great thing we have so far going for us.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. And you are 100% right. There are some really big staples between good and great teams, and the amount of care is a large one, and it's a really genuine one, because you can work on it, and you can take your whole team to the movies or bowling or whatever and call it team bonding, but that's not really what it is. There is a level of care, and it can be built, but it's extremely challenging to do. And a lot of it has to do with the people that are sitting at the table, who's in that room. And this group has showed signs of being different, and Coach Mo and I have been, we've been a part of a lot of different teams, and so we can kind of see some of the stuff. You mentioned, just 4 weeks in, but you mentioned KCS Angels.
Yes.
Were you aware of that before you got here?
I was.
Okay,
Yep.
so you were aware of it. You get put on the KCS Angels team, and so you're going there every Friday, as long as we're in town. And what was that like? Maybe the first time, because you probably saw a little bit on social media. It's not something we put a lot out. That was a part of the story initially starting out, and they tend to put more out now. Yep. But what was your first day like there?
It was really humbling for me too.
Okay.
Because at that first week, it was like our conditioning hard week. I was like, we got practice after this. I know I'm going to be running a lot. Like, I was kind of down that week. I wasn't the best at it, but then I went there and I see they are happy to see us. That was Paulie's favorite thing. As soon as we walk in, I've been waiting for you guys, and that just made that week.
He does a lot of waiting.
Yeah, the struggles of running. That all went out the door when I saw how happy people are to see us and as a team, and I love that. And they're so happy to hang out with us. They're so happy to shoot hoops, throw the football, and it's just great to see.
For sure. How often do you call home?
I text home more than call.
Okay.
I'll text my mom here and there back and forth about what we've done at practice, about what we got for the week.
How often are you talking to her?
It's probably once a day.
Nice.
Twice a
Good.
day. Yeah,
Good.
we talk quite a bit.
You definitely want to keep that up.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else from your first 4 weeks in that have been an outlier to you?
I think that at practice, what we've been doing great on that's so different from the guys are willing to help each other. At first, when I came in, I was nervous. I was like, I don't know if these guys are not going to want me to succeed, because we're all playing for a spot. And we've talked about this, that only so many guys in the spring. And at first, I was nervous to go up to guys because I didn't want them to – I didn't know what their reaction was going to be. And now we're so close with each other. And I think that mid-Mich game really brought it out in each other. But seeing guys succeed, like Lane, that was one of the best moments in baseball I've been a part of recent. That was awesome. And I think that this team has a lot of great leaders that are willing to help you too, not just the vocal leaders like, all right, guys, we got to do this. You can go up to them and talk to them one-on-one. And I think that's something great that we got. And they've been great to the freshmen too, introducing each other, getting to know each other. And I think it's great, and I think it's going to help our team succeed in the long run when we try to make a run.
You talked about the running and stuff, and that's a piece of what we call MT&C.
Yep.
And with that, we're really having an environment where it's competing daily and competing for more than just throwing strikes or hitting balls over the fence. There's a lot of competing for body language and helpfulness and just the different stuff. But it's also an understanding, just like you said, you're competing for a spot.
Yep.
But instead of with our team environment, we're trying to teach that instead of competing against each other, you are competing with each other, and appreciating when somebody does well, and appreciating when somebody, I use it a lot with Roger Bannister's 4-minute mile, appreciating when somebody shows you this is how it's done.
Yeah.
And we've seen pitchers do that this fall already in competition against other jerseys, and we've seen position players do it too. And it's like, hey, this is possible. We can do this. It doesn't matter what the situation is. And when you can build teams like that, it's just different. And different is a word that I fully believe is sometimes looked at as a bad word, and we've tried to change those negative connotations and kind of flip it a little bit, that there's a duality to that word, and that it can be a really positive thing. What's been your take, Coach Mo, on the first 4 weeks? I know it's been a little bit of a super busy and a lot going on, and we're traveling at this point, and we've got games and we've got the practices and everything else. What's been your first 4 like?
Yeah, I think that I feel a lot more comfortable with where we're at. Not as in comfortable as foot off the gas pedal, but as in like I like what we're building, and not take the foot off the gas pedal, but leave it on and keep going the same speed, or you're safe to kicking it up. I think that looking back at last season, I think at this point we'd already gone through a lot of negative things and negative things we hadn't in the past. And even though we were looking at it and saying, we're going to be fine. We've got so much road ahead of us. We're going to be fine. There was already kind of like a bad vibe in the air.
Right.
And I think this year you see like, okay, this is good. This is where we're supposed to be again. And it feels like it's supposed to. And now it's just on, the coaching staff, the players, and the culture to make sure that fuel and the fire is still burning. So,
yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming on this morning, coming into the studio, seeing what it's all about. Appreciate having you here. I think it's definitely a full circle thing with you and with us, and having you here. And I just love the fact that you show up every day and you compete. Yep. And you're vulnerable enough to be like, I'm a little bit nervous when I get started at, the first few days in the week, and it's okay. That's part of growing, and you've done a great job of communicating and being a great teammate and being helpful and all those things. And you just got to keep stacking bricks at this point and keep working on becoming a better person. And you take care of all that stuff. The stuff on the field between the lines will take care of themselves.
For sure. Yeah.
So until next time, make winning in life your habit, not your goal. Excellence is a practice, not a prize. Build great habits and practices that serve you so you can serve others. Enjoy the small moments in life as they go by in a blink of an eye. Until next time, thank you to all of our listeners. We are all playing a game we can't win, so why not play it to the utmost? Go all in and go Stars. Coach Cut's Corner is recorded live in the WLNZ studios. Engineering and production assistance are provided by Dedalia and Lowry. Thanks for listening. And if you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it and follow us on all the platforms of social media. You can find more about our program at lccstars.com, and donations to our baseball program can be made at the same site. See you next time.